Alright, so with the PlayStation VR 2 being out for over a month now, I just wanted to go through a quick list of my personal top 10 favorite games for the platform. And now these are obviously going to change as new and better games get released that actively take advantage of the amazing PlayStation 5 and PlayStation VR 2 hardware. Now at number 10, we have the Dark Pictures Switchback. Now the Dark Pictures Switchback is a very arcadey roller coaster horror game that I personally, I had fun with, but it wasn't that good, especially for the $40 price tag. So I honestly don't see this staying as my 10th spot for much longer, but I will say I did have fun with it. Honestly, I really wish they took more advantage of the roller coaster mechanic that they implemented. But anyways, at number 9, we have Kayak VR Mirage. Now this, for what it is pretty much perfect. I mean, it's a kayak simulation VR game. You go to all these different locales, and the game as a whole looks beautiful, especially on the PSVR 2. So, I mean, if you're interested in what it sounds like, which is a kayak VR game, then this is totally worth it. It's a great game for exactly what it's trying to deliver. It's just that what it's trying to deliver doesn't necessarily appeal to me that much.
At number 8, we have Before Your Eyes. Before Your Eyes is a game that you play entirely through your eyes. You interact with the game through blinking and looking around, and it is absolutely superb. What makes the game is the story. The story is existential, profound, and very well executed. You blink through your life before eternal judgment, and when you're in a really powerful, important moment in your life and you really want to see what's next, but you have to blink and lose it forever, it is a truly unbelievable feeling. It is a very short game at around 90 minutes, but it is worth it. It would definitely be higher on my list if it wasn't quite as much money for the length.
At number 7, we have a game that came out a long time ago, but it's still easily one of my favorite VR games for whatever reason, and that is Tetris Effect Connected. This looks a lot better on PSVR 2. It's clearer, it uses some eye tracking mechanics, and overall, I just still love this game. It's my favorite version of Tetris. And I'm not even the biggest Tetris fan, but it's just the music, the colors, the whole thing is such an experience that I really love. At number 6, we have Gran Turismo 7, specifically the VR implementation mode of it. And it's really fun. I've only spent a few hours in it. I just got it the other day, but it's pretty awesome. It might go higher up on my list in the future as I play with it more. It's really fun. It's really graphically a great game, especially on the PSVR 2. I do notice there's a mirror effect, I believe it's called. It's reprojection. So it's 120 hertz, but they're taking 60 frames and then they're doubling that and reprojecting it. So I really don't like that effect. Thankfully, though, it's not even that noticeable in Gran Turismo 7 because you're sitting down the whole time and you're going fast anyways, so it's still really fun. At number 5, we have the Light Brigade. This is a VR action roguelite kind of game with guns, and it is awesome. It is just stupendously fun. That's it, really. If I had to describe it in one word, it's just fun. Having all these different weapons and enemies, just getting headshots, using spells. God, it's just such a fun time. And there's just, it's just a really fun game. I've spent hours in it, and I really love it. At number 4, we have Pavlov. Pavlov was really well optimized on the PSVR 2, and, it's still one of the best VR shooters. My personal favorite as of right now is Contractors because of the modding community, but Pavlov, still great choice, great on the PlayStation. Number 3, we have Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, Chapter 2 Retribution. I played the first one exclusively on the Quest 2 natively. So my experience contrasting with that to the Chapter 2 on PSVR 2 is tremendous. Huge difference both in terms of clarity, environments, and lighting in particular. It's just a complete game changer if you go from the Quest 2 to the PSVR 2 in terms of just the game itself. And it really, you cannot truly appreciate, I don't think, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners on the Quest 2 because of the limitations of the device. Now, sure, it's really great that they were able to run it on it, and I still had a lot of fun playing the first one, but playing the second one on PSVR 2 is a complete game changer. It's a complete different experience. Now, at number 2, we have Horizon Call of the Mountain. This game was considered like the PSVR 2's main game, especially at launch. It was the thing every system was bundled with it. There was a bunch of bundles it was considered the main launch title, like the main reason why you'd buy this headset at launch. And I've played a lot of it. For $60, I mean, it's really fun. It's really good. It's got a lot of interactivity. It's a gorgeous game. It's really great. I will say the Mira, I believe it's called, the reprojection effect does, still suck in my mind. It gives me just this off-putting effect. But once I was able to look past that, it's a fantastic, really, VR experience. It's really great. Highly recommend it. There's a lot of climbing, but you know what? I kind of like VR climbing, so I really enjoyed it. Especially the combat was fun. And number 1, I think this is going to surprise a lot of people. This is my personal number 1 list. I mean, all of these were pretty close together because there's so many of these are great games. But at number 1, I have Resident Evil Village VR mode. This is an interesting one because when I first played it, I was not expecting it to be that good. I played Resident Evil 4 on the Quest 2 quite a lot, and that's really great. And I will say, in that version, they did have more VR interactivity in terms of, like, cabinets, ammo, reloading, that sort of thing. It was just a little bit more interactive with VR. But what they were able to do with Village is so insane because it's, for my money, the best looking game on the PSVR 2. Now, granted, the reprojection effect is at its worst here because that just really bugs me. Because if you're moving through like a hallway and you look to your right, you'll see like it kind of like glitch out and stutter and like have a ghost effect, which I hate. But the game is just so good, I had to look past it. Visually, it's absolutely insane, insanely clear, and on its own, it's really a great game. And so when you put it in VR with certain things like opening up your jacket to grab a flashlight or grab a landmine or reaching over your shoulder for the shotgun, it's so awesome. And I'll say this, okay? I've played a ton of VR. I don't get scared in VR at all. I don't, because I'm just used to it. I used to get scared with like Saints and Sinners and stuff like that, Resident Evil 4, a few of those games, right? I would get, like nervous, I would get scared, but that feeling started to fade more and more. Now, I still loved those games, but it became more about the gameplay and less of the fear factor. Like, that was less of an element. But I was absolutely terrified while playing Resident Evil Village in VR. Just absolutely petrified, and I still am whenever I go back to it. Especially, God, there's this opening sequence in the snow, and you have a flashlight, and it's just, oh my God, it's absolutely terrifying, but it's insane at the same time. It was honestly a bit of a game-changing experience for me when I got the PlayStation headset. I highly recommend it to anybody who's played Resident Evil games in the past or just even interested in it. It's so good. Now, that was my top 10 list. These are, obviously, like I said, subject to change. Cannot wait for some new releases on the platform. And there's still a lot of games, honestly, I haven't even checked out. I gotta try, like, Zenith The Last City, for example. And there's a lot of other games, too. Like Star Wars, Tales of the Galaxy's Edge. I put a lot of that on Quest 2, but haven't really played it on PlayStation yet. So, I'm really looking forward to it. I hope the system does well enough to at least warrant some high quality and the continuing of high quality game releases.